Welcome to another episode of Trauma to Triumph. My name is Lindley. I'm the host. Today we'll be talking about how to cultivate spiritual growth. Our speaker today is Angela Zabel. Hi, Angela. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me today. I'm excited to be here.
Can you share with us a little about yourself?
I do personal growth and spiritual growth, teach classes. I do online classes. I do mediumship, intuition. I do retreats. I teach a lot of how to connect to yourself, how to connect to that original part of yourself to help you in everyday life.
All right, can you explain what is spiritual growth and how do we cultivate spiritual growth?
So spiritual growth is understanding. A lot of people have mindfulness and intuition. And what that is that's really tapping into yourself and who you are. So kind of look at yourself as the same person, but two separate people. It's your soul that you have inside of you. And then your intuition is another part of your soul that you can access at any time. So this is you accessing that other part. So that also has our guides in it. So we talk about guides, and this is understanding that we can access this information. And there's so many on the other side there to help us with this information. So we can tap into those energies to help us. So kind of think of it when we go outside, we feel so much better. We're automatically grounding. So that's the earth energies helping us. And this is us realizing that we can tap into all of these different energies. So think of even when you go outside and you feel so good when you step in the sun. And that's because you're getting that information. You're getting that connection to ourselves, to that spiritual part of ourselves. We're connected to the earth. We're connected to the sun. We're connected to so many different things. And that is there just to help us and to understand who we are. So this is us tapping into us and getting to know ourselves at a deeper level than what we've maybe been taught before. Kind of think of like when you go down a road, there's road signs everywhere so you know where you are. This is us finding our own road signs so we can find where we need to go. And it also, every time we tap into ourselves, we automatically start feeling more joyful and more happy because that's who we really are, joyful, happy people. And it's us understanding that we can do that every day. And to help us when we have things coming up in our lives that may be a little more challenging, that spiritual side of ourselves can step in. We can tap into it to help us find the best way through muddy situations, let's say.
In life, we are trained to identify a lot of things, right? Including who we are. We identify ourselves as something, as a mother, as a father, as a profession. We have a title to our profession, and that's how we define ourselves. So when you say tapping to spirituality or spiritual growth is to tap into who we are, can you explain what is exactly who we are? Beside that.
So who we actually are is vibrations. We came here as souls to experience a physical experience on earth. So I look at ourselves as we all vibrate. When you're with people, you walk in a room and people are happy, you're feeling happy. You're automatically tapping into that excitement in the room. But on the other side of it, when we identify, we go into a room and people are angry and upset, and we walk into that room, we feel it. And we feel like anxious and scared or nervous, or you can just feel cutting the tension with a knife. You can feel that. So this is using ourselves and tapping into when we feel those emotions to move ourselves through those situations in an easy manner and not take it on as if someone does things to us that we feel maybe aren't that great. When we look at it, we can look at it and say we were a victim of that, or we can step ourselves out of it and say, we just came here to see what it felt like, and now we can let it go and move forward. And it's really about letting go of all those beliefs and those boxes that we've put ourselves in. It's letting go of those beliefs and starting to realize that we came here for a different reason, to have fun, to enjoy, and to experience as much as possible. So a lot of times we get in what's our sole purpose, and we're looking for one sole purpose in our life. And in actuality, our purpose is to find as many things that we love to do and enjoy every one of them until we get tired of it and then move on again. And not be stuck in this, I got to do this one thing, and let go of that box that we seem to put ourselves in. We need to do one job, one thing, and we're only a mother or we're only a professional. And this is realizing we are all of those things and more. And we're here to see how much of all of those things we can expand to the biggest amount we can and just enjoy those moments and be in every single moment, every step of the way. When we're doing one thing, we're thinking of doing everything else. So how many of people here have wanted to, we're going out with people and we're enjoying the night, but then we're thinking of the laundry we have to do or the paper that's due at work the next week. So we're not really concentrating on the moment. And this is about understanding if we concentrate on the moment we're in, we start finding so much more joy in that moment. And then our spirit, which is our joy, so think of it as a joy meter. Every time you're feeling better, you're automatically growing your spiritual growth. That spiritual growth is growing every time you find that joy. And it's going to continue to grow every time you look for things that make you happy.
What we're talking about here is on an energy level. We are energetic beings. We live through this body, this energy, this soul, this spirit. We experience through this body. If we are missing one limb or one lower body or our sight or our hearing or our other senses, we're still who we are, right? And we're still able to experience, and it has not as balanced as it should be. Therefore, we can only experience what we can experience. It depends on individual. So really who we are is the energetic being that we able to experience through this body. How we experience that depends on what state we're in, right?
Yes, that is so very true. So when we're looking at our energetic body and looking at spiritual growth, when we feel ourselves going down, when we feel ourselves going in the dumps or feeling angry or upset about something, that's a really good key for us to look inside and say, what are we looking at? How are we perceiving our world that we're looking at it with anger or upset or just depression? Because when that happens, that's really a good sign to say you're not connecting with that energetic being that you really are, because that energetic being wouldn't be as upset or as angry. You may get upset or angry, but to step back and go, okay, why am I experiencing it? Am I believing something about myself that I maybe am not worth, I don't feel I'm worth it, or I feel like someone needs to tell me what to do, but I really don't want that. So this is you going inside and saying, what do I want? And then asking yourself, if you're feeling that way, why do I not feel I'm connected to the other side? Because when you're connected to the other side, you're realizing with a different perspective that you can work through everything and you can do it with grace and ease instead of being difficult and hard. And that's one of the things, is understanding that as we connect to that other side, a lot of times it's simply taking a deep breath. When we're in a situation where everything is going crazy, to step back, actually bring yourself out of this situation. If you need to walk to another room, do that and go back and just take a deep breath. And when you do that, you'll automatically feel yourself starting to come down, starting to get rid of the anxiety and come down into a more balanced state. And when you do that, you're now able to see and handle a situation in such a more perceptive manner than what you could before. So anytime you feel out of balance, I always say step out, go outside, walk in the grass if it's not cold. To step out in the sun, to take a deep breath, because that's going to automatically balance you back to your energetic being that you really are. And once you're in that state, your intuition will turn back on, because when you're angry or upset, your intuition turns off because you're so focused on that aspect. But when you step away and you start taking that breath and you start walking outside, and if you can't walk outside, visualize it in your head, that will automatically start bringing you back to a balanced aspect in your energy. And then the intuition and the connection to the other side grows again. So I like to say that every time you work with your intuition and you work with understanding what's on the other side, and that energy that's all available to us with so much knowledge, because there's so much knowledge to help us in everyday life, not just the big things, but even the small things. And when you do that, you grow that muscle. Kind of think of it like going to a gym and working out. Every time you decide to step back, take a breath, how do I really feel? You're tapping into yourself. You're raising that energy and you're understanding who you are as a person, an energetic being that now has access to knowledge of all sorts. So think of it, you might be going down a road and something will tell you, oh, slow down or go here. That's your intuition. And every time you listen to it and you pay attention to it, you automatically grow your intuition. And it gets stronger and easier and comes in more and more to help you with your everyday decisions in life. And that spiritual growth is there to help you in your everyday life. It's not just for the big picture.
When we talking about to the other side, that doesn't mean you are ignoring what you are experiencing. Walk through the whole process to experience the whole you, not knowing the situation you're in. And then you're shifting through.
Correct. So that's shifting through everything. So as you go into different challenging aspects, you're moving through it, you're calming yourself, you're connecting to the other side, and that is all of the energetic aspects that are there to help us. So some of us look at it as spirit guides, as our general intuition, as that higher self. Some are looking at it as angels. And it's all of those things and more, but we can access whatever is needed at the time to help us with that. But it's also to be present in this moment and not to think that you're going to be airy-fairy your whole life. You're not going to be walking up here. It's having that information available to you. If I'm talking to you, it's like, hey, I've got this issue. Can we talk it through? That's using the same thing with your intuition on the other side. You say to yourself, I've got this situation. I need help figuring this out. Can you give me some guidance and information to help figure out this challenging situation? And you'll see information, you'll hear information kind of pop in. And a lot of times when they say sleep on it, that's because when we sleep, we let go of the chatter in our head. When we let go of the chatter in our head, we can easily access more information. But to set the intention that you're looking for specific information, instead of just going to bed and say, I'm going to sleep on it, say, no, I want to find out, what can I know about this situation? And then the information can pop in and help you.
If you have not developed personal transformation or personal growth, that is more difficult. So you need to work on your personal growth, which means clearing all the things that are still unresolved within you. That's why when people are talking about spirituality or spiritual growth, we're talking about you already have shifted all the unresolved issues within you. Now you're moving to the part where you continue living the joy. So you need to ask yourself where you're at, because you don't want to rush into spiritual practice and get disappointed or get discouraged, right?
Exactly. Personal growth is first and foremost. When people are going through personal growth, instead of really worrying about accessing any of the other stuff, it should just be concentrating on themselves. So it's really people understanding what is good in my life, what is not good in my life, and letting go of that which isn't. And feel love for yourself and then move yourself forward again. And that's the start of spiritual growth. Just feel the love from it. And that's all you need to start.
Acknowledge that you are already have what you need within. However, there are things that happen in life to you, maybe when you were younger, that you don't have control, that still within you, that is bothering you energetically. So what you need to do is work on those, healing those and shifting those, because those are energetic that you may not logically understand. You need to really take time to declutter all those things that bury your true self within, and then those energetic being shift, then you now more open and you feel differently, think differently, and act differently. Then you are in the flow with spirituality. You're in flow with the spirit. You're in flow with your soul. You're in flow with your authentic self, your love, your joy, and all those.
Yeah. So one of the things I like to say is the first thing you should do is this is about identifying. So many of us, as we go through life and we experience things, we shove things down. We kind of cover them them up. When that happens, a lot of us will have anxiety or stomach issues. That's a really good first clue that you've buried something and you really need to bring it out to examine it. So if you've got a lot of anxiety and a lot of stomach issues, you need to stop and start really looking within. So this is all about identifying. If you've got that and people say, no, I'm good, but they're having these issues, they have something they've buried. And that's bringing that out and identifying. So my biggest thing is to stop and feel your body. How does it feel? If you're feeling anxious or like that knot in your stomach, you've got something you need to examine. Make it a habit. And some people can write it down. What am I feeling about myself? And then looking at it. And every time that feeling comes up, replace it with another feeling of what a great job I've done on this. So that's also when you identify, then you need something to fill in the spot. So fill it with a great job. Fill it with love for yourself. Besides giving the pat on the back, do something special for you. And it could be as simple as taking 5 minutes to read a book that you usually don't get a chance to.
Spirituality is a process of reconnecting with ourselves. It's the internal world, right? We need to spend time to contemplate on questions that uplifting us, that harmonize us, or activities that harmonize our energy and maintain that energy so that you're not depleted, so that you connect with a higher power, the higher source. Look at this way. In the physical world, depends on what vehicle we use to get to the destination we want, right? We are now kind of crawling in a way according to spiritual world. But if we want to go further in life, experience life to the fullest before we die, we can either crawling to our destination, or we can learn to walk fast to our destination, or we can utilize the bicycle to our destination, or we can utilize the motorcycle, or we can use vehicle or an airplane. Soon we're going to use rocket even, right? So exactly. Spirituality is the same way.
Let go of the fact that it has to be slow and difficult. A lot of those things have a lot of commonality to them. So when you realize that and you start letting go, you start identifying those aspects in your life, you start letting them go. You don't have to go through all of those aspects in the same slower movement. It's like they're kind of connected, so they're all falling off at once. So you think of it, every time you identify even one thing in your life that's making it challenging or making it difficult for you, when you identify that one spot and you start working on it, there's like 100 other things that automatically fall off because so many things are tied to that one thought of ourselves. So when you look at self-worth, if you're looking at your self-worth isn't that much, or even aspects of self-worth, or feeling like you're not equal to someone else, when you start letting go of those aspects, there's so many other things that fall off, and you don't have to work through them one at a time. So this is where you do take the rocket ship and you're flying, and there's no reason for you to walk. I always like to say, even when you're walking, instead of walking, picture yourself skipping. Because how much fun is that to picture yourself skipping down the sidewalk? It's naturally fun. As you're skipping, you're losing things out of your pockets that you don't need. So each of our spirituality is going to be a little different. It's going to be a little tweak, and that should be okay. You're not going to be like the other 100 people. Each of you should be different in what you resonate with. Some of us love math. Some of us love to read. Some of us love sciences. And that's the same with spirituality. You're going to love different aspects of it. This is the normal. This is how it should be. You should be happy and not be stuck and told what you can and can't do in so many aspects. And to let go of the societal demands, the societal expectations. That's something so huge that I think we're getting there a little at a time, but I'm hoping we can blow the doors off real soon.
For the majority of us, of course, we need to really heal the subconscious, right?
So the first step is identify the patterns that you are experiencing and tap into your emotions. Your emotion is your first antenna, your first line of defense on what's going on. Once you identify the patterns, tap into the emotions, then give yourself a pat on the back for identifying those patterns, and then find something joyful for you. Give yourself something to look forward to. Spoil yourself a little bit. Enjoy the journey and be in the moment. So being in the moment is so key, because every time you're in the moment, you're basically meditating. So if you're in a moment of joy, be in the moment of joy. Don't let everything else go. If you're in the moment of anger, be in the moment of anger for a little bit if you need to, but then step out of it and know that I'm going to clear that and move yourself forward. When people look at spirituality, they look at what is it that makes me happy. Some people like crystals. Do crystals make you happy? Some people like to meditate. Some people love to meditate. Some people love yoga. These are all things to connect with your spirituality. Some people will do pendulums. Some people will do oracle cards. Some people will just simply be and go in nature and take walks. So this is whatever resonates with you. That's where you should go, because this is your guides and your spirit guides, your helpers that came in this life with you. You've got a team that came in this life with you to help you, and they're going to be synchronizing things in front of you. So when you meet somebody that you didn't expect to meet, or you heard something on a radio or on a program that you didn't understand before, and it draws you to go somewhere or meet someone or take a class, that's your intuition on full off gear. It's on run right now. When you see things coming up in front of you, run with them for the moment, and then you'll be drawn to something else. Every time you learn something in your life, it's because you will need it later on for something else. So a lot of people think that I have to be like the Olympic swimmer of, I'm going to go into spirituality full bore and I'm going to know everything, like a master at everything. And you shouldn't go in with that aspect. You should go in with, I'm going to learn what I feel I need, and then I'm going to move on to something else. So many people have to be the master at one thing, and they don't explore the rest of it. This is putting ourselves together a little at a time and not being stuck in the drama of going into one aspect. So say people want to learn Reiki. Reiki is working with your energy and working with that. So when you do that, some people will want to just take one class and they're good. Other people will want to be the master, but you shouldn't come down on yourself because you didn't go on to take all of the classes. You should be okay with whatever you learn and everything you do. Some people feel like they failed if they didn't learn everything about it. And that's something we need to take out of the box ourselves. We need to remove that box around ourselves, that we have to study everything the whole way, and we don't need to. As you go forward, you're going to naturally be drawn to what your soul and your spirit needs to move itself forward. So you don't have to worry about being so stuck on what exactly I need to do. Your soul will draw you, and you're going to just feel interested, like, I want to learn about this, I want to learn about that. Your soul will draw you to what you need to know to bring you to the next step. And we are always constantly going up, no matter what. We are always going up spiritually.
Whatever you do, you need to focus 100% in order for your soul to really feel it. Because if you are just halfway and not 100% focused, you don't know. You have to be 100 focused. Halfway, then you forever going in circle in life.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing, is anything you do, you need to be in that moment and give it 100% to see if it's really what you want to do. And then it'll take you one way or the other from there. It'll either take you to more classes in that aspect, or it'll say, oh, I want to do something else, or something else. You might meet someone in that class who then gives you an idea of where else you want to go. But you have to be in that moment, learning what you're there to learn, and that's going to naturally get you to where your next step. It's going to be shown to you, and that's the synchronicity, and to let you know what you need to do next. And that also shows you, like you said, declutter. I don't need to do certain things. I can get rid of that. I can get rid of how I feel and just let it go and declutter all of that.
It allows you to commit it to it as well, long enough to figure it out as well, right?
Exactly. You have to realize every time you're doing something, it might be you're going there, you're going to give yourself 100%, but then you're going to realize that you're there to meet somebody in that class or wherever you're doing, to then take you to the next step of where you need to be. And that's one thing I've learned. I've met so many amazing people, and it's taken me in so many different directions. And it's letting go of what you expect your life to be, because your soul is going to take you in ways you never imagined. Just be in the moment every time. We would get so far in life and enjoy the ride.
Consistency, commitment that allow you be in the moment long enough to really figure it out, to discover you like it, you're not liking it, so that you can move forward, right?
Whenever you do that, opportunities are going to come into your life in ways you never expected. And that's part of the thing. You know, when opportunities keep coming into your life, you are doing things the way you need to do.
That's how we harmonize the energy to experience and live life in the moment. And then you will move to another dimension. Right?
That is true.
That's more wisdom, intuition.
Exactly. You're growing that intuition, that intuitive muscle. You're growing that connection every day. And it's going to take you in ways you never expected. Anytime you're doing anything, you should be setting an intention. What do you expect to get out of it? Well, how do you want it to go? So I always ask for love, white light, and guidance. So asking for that guidance to help me, to help move myself forward and to bring opportunities into my life. So setting an intention every time you're working with something. So that's part of the focus, being focused and being in the moment. What are you going to hope to achieve by doing this certain thing? So set that intention. I intend to find out more about myself. I intend to find out more things that I can let go of. Set those intentions, because that focuses your energy whenever you go into it. Then you know exactly what you're looking for. When you might get a little wandering a little bit, like, oh, I don't know if I'm really into that, you go back to your intention. What is my intention? I want to learn and understand myself more. And in order to do that, I have to be here fully.
When you do that, you have that intention, you have to be aware of your attitude.
Oh, definitely. Attitude is everything. But looking at their attitude, one person is going to hate being there and just grumbling the whole time. And the next person is really enjoying being in that moment. And that's attitude. So go in with the attitude, I'm going to enjoy this moment. I'm going to take it for all it's got, and I'm going to find out and learn anything I can out of this moment. I'm going to take that with me, attitude and the intention. By using those two things and being in that moment, you're automatically switching yourself to a whole different aspect. So think about how that even sounds. You've already raised your energy going into any situation. You can easily handle things that maybe would have bothered you on other times.
How to guide you to set good intentions and attitude when you're out of balance or when you're in not a very positive situation. You just have to pay attention to your body sensations. Then you kind of reset your intentions.
Yeah, and when things really bother you, or you're really in a situation where you might be angry or upset, remove yourself from the situation. Literally take your body and move it out of the room. Step outside, center yourself, and then you're able to come back into it. And then set your intention. Before you come back into that room, set your intention. What do you expect out of the situation you're going to walk back into? And then run through. So I like to say that when you know you're going to be dealing with a sticky situation, you know it's going to be a lot of high emotions. You already know that before you go there. I like to sit back and go through scenarios in my head and then walk them through and actually hear the other people, because you pretty much know what's going to happen or how they're going to react. But then look at, what is my reaction going to be? And actually go through the conversation in your head. So when you hit that situation in the physical form, you've already gone through it in your head. How I react, what are the words I will say? And then by doing that, you're diffusing the energy naturally, because you are coming in from a different perspective, not of anger, not of anxiety. You're coming in with, I know what I'm going to say. I know what I'm going to deal with. And this is how I'm going to handle it. And that's a good way that you know you're on the right track, because now you're looking at things with a different perspective and you're not going in with that anger and anxiety. You may be a little going in, but you know you're handling it in your head and you can handle any situation. And that's part of us knowing who we are as humans.
It's like you have a meeting with yourself.
Exactly. Have a meeting with yourself. Do it in your phone even. Pretend you're talking to that person, even record it. And then watch your facial expressions and watch your things and go, oh, yeah. So look at it with that different perspective. And when you do, you're going to naturally go, oh, it's not as bad as I thought.
Personal development and spiritual growth is all about internal practice. So exactly. we can't get that through lecture, books and stuff like that. We can listen, but we can't cultivate it until we experience it, until we practice it with ourselves. So the power is within.
Exactly. And I like to say that, the power is us. We are the movement. It's all us. And it's us knowing that we are the ones changing everything. And it's personal movement. So it's not, like you said, you can't just get it from the book or get it from the TV. It's not just sitting on the couch. It's getting up, it's doing the actual physical movement. So maybe it's recording how you would have said it to somebody, if it's going in the mirror, if it's going out and going to a class. So this is actually physically moving your body to where you want it to be. Any physical movement you put yourself forward is going to naturally bring you, because that's telling your body, oh, I'm not just thinking about it anymore, I'm actually doing it. And it puts that body in motion and it gets that energy moving. So it's physically doing something, some step towards where you want to be. When we're feeling anxious, we're out of balance. If you're feeling anxious or upset, you're out of balance. And that's your body is trying to say, hey, your spirit is out of balance. Let's find a way to bring it back. So let's think about it and let's really look at it and see what we can do.
This is something that we can cultivate over time. It's something that is natural for us, but because we've been trained to live in a different way, because we have accumulated things that is not natural to us. But that now we have to really declutter them to reconnecting with our natural existence and natural being, our authentic self, our soul, our spirit, right?
Exactly. Spirituality is always learning because there's so much to learn. I myself, I intend to learn till the day I die because there's so many things out there. There's no way I could possibly know them all. And I'm going to explore everything I possibly can. So it's the excitement about discovering more about yourself, because every time you learn, you discover something new about yourself. So it should be, our life is about learning. We are here to learn and continue to learn. And every time we learn, it brings more joy and happiness to us without even trying.
Yeah. So let's look at this way. We are in elementary and we're trying to get a PhD.
Yeah. But we're actually pretty darn good.
We just have to really start practicing the letter A over and over, erase, and then practice over and over, erase and practice, erase, repeat, until you really got it. And then you move to the next level. Eventually you graduate from elementary, middle school, high school, and go on to college, and then PhD. And then after PhD, people still learning, right?
Exactly.
But life becomes so much more joy and fulfilled when you overcome all the issues and begin to reconnecting with your authentic self. And spirituality become a natural force that flow in.
Exactly. Your life automatically flows so much easier, and you don't even notice the bumps in the road so much. Before, there would maybe be big bumps, or it felt like mountains you're going over when you'd hit these big spots of things that bothered you. But as you continue to go through this life journey, pretty soon those bumps are very small and you don't even notice them after a while. So you'll notice that things that would have bothered you in the past don't even affect you anymore.
Wherever you're at, you just need to experience it. You can't jump and skip your life. If you are struggling with something, you meant to be there, and you just have to work through that. And if you need help, you look for help and work through it in order to move beyond that so that you can grow. Because if you are trying to jump the gun and you're trying to ignore that, then you're going to repeat that. You're going to walk back into the old path again. So you have to work through it.
And that's one thing. So when you enable somebody, you're actually taking away their path. So they're at the spot they are because they need to work through something. And when you're covering it up with a bandage, which is kind of like what I consider enabling, when you're covering it up with a bandage, you're never letting that person experience what they really came here to experience. So that's one thing, is when you're in a spot, in a deeper spot, you need to experience it because there's something there for you to learn. And then, like you said, find somebody to help you get through that. Anybody who can help, a teacher or anyone that, and even energy releasing. Maybe that's all you need to work your way through it.
A lot of people really need help in releasing the energy that's stuck within them. That will move them to another state of energy field.
And when they're actively seeking it, they'll find it because their soul is saying, this is what I need, and I will help you find it.
The only way to help somebody change is you change yourself. Not change yourself, but shift your energy field. When you shift your energy field, that's when things naturally change for you. And you feel and think and see differently. Then you live life differently. Then other people see that, they will model that. They will seek what you have practiced.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing. All you have to do is be you. Be you, look for what makes you happy. And when you do that, you are the one that's showing people how they can improve their life. They'll be looking and going, why is she so happy? Why does she not get upset? How come she's not angry right now? And they're going to be going like, they're going to start questioning like, why is that? What's going on that they're not angry, they're not upset, and they're just like going through it. Oh, no big deal. So then they're going to start asking questions, and they're going to start looking, and they're going to start exploring and doing research. And that's all you need to do. You need to be that light shining for others to see. And you're going to naturally draw people to you, and they're going to look and go, I want some of that. I want to have that happiness. I want that joy. And I just want to enjoy life. And they're going to be drawn to you.
Yeah, great. Okay, that will be the end of our interview. Thank you so much, Angela, for being here again. Would you like to add anything?
I will have a link for the guidance, the 5 ways to let things go and to identify those things. So you'll be able to get that. My website is angelazabel.com. Thank you for taking your time to help so many people in all that you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, you guys. I see you guys in the next interview.